Hello, everyone, and welcome to Edge Talk Radio. My name is Angela Zabel. That's me. And today we're going to be talking about healing beyond limits with healer, app creator Frank Buelow of Wisconsin. And I can't wait to get into this one. So, who am I? I have connected with spirit, working with a team in the non physical my entire life, sharing messages from a multitude of realms with people. I'm a teacher, coach, medium, radio show host, writer, retreat host, gallery reader, doing speaking engagements, offering guidance, mediumship, intuition with online private and group sessions, classes, and the Amplified Universe monthly membership group. This is growing our connection to us, our world, all that is around us, and our role in it. Sharing knowledge and working with people throughout the world. You can find me on pretty much all the social media out there, but go to my website, angelazabel.com, and you'll find out a whole lot more. And today I'm going to try to get this in sync here. Let's see if we got this. I think I do. Today we are here with Edge Magazine. This is the leading events and media resource dedicated to all aspects of holistic living, health, wellness, and the mysteries beyond, sharing information, wisdom, and resources committed to promoting businesses, organizations, and individuals who support a collective journey to wholeness and balance. Currently distributed in 30 states and Canada, with over 17,000 magazines per printing, and a vibrant online magazine with over 42,000 people reached per month. Have the magazine shipped to your door, stay up to date with the newsletter, become a drop spot, and check out Kelly Wagner on the Being Curious show. And you can find out more about Edge Magazine and Edge Talk Radio at edgemagazine.net. And today we are here with Frank Buelow. I can't wait because Frank, his journey has been a blend of challenges and triumphs. From a young age, he faced family mental health struggles, physical abuse, depression, suicidal thoughts, and substance misuse. These experiences sparked his interest in the mind, perceptions, and later spirituality. After battling personal demons and relying on medications for various conditions, a health crisis prompted a profound transformation. During his recovery, he met his first Reiki Master teacher, and Reiki became vital for his healing. Now, a holy fire, three, and Karuna, hopefully I said that right, or close to it, Reiki
Mhm.
Master teacher, Frank is dedicated to sharing the powerful healing modality as he has embraced sound frequencies and rekindled the passion for psychology by obtaining certifications in QHHT and BQH, and we will get into describing what the difference is between those as we go through this, enabling him to guide others on their healing journeys. Frank believes the mind holds secrets waiting to be unlocked by those willing to explore its depths. He's currently working on a self-paced coaching program that includes a number of amazing practitioners and many additional features built into a spiritual conscious base app. And today I want to encourage all of you, check out more about Frank Buelow, Buelow Wellness LLC, and the 1111 Collective Connection. Go to BuelowWellness.com, and I'm going to spell that for those listening. It's BuelowWellness.com. And once you get on there, you also find the connections to his Facebook, Instagram, and so much more. He has the QHHT, the sound healing, Reiki, and his wife Julie also works with him, and they have functional nutrition, counseling, Zyto readings at the moment, and Evox perception reframing at the moment. So check out more about Frank and more about Bila Wellness and his wife Julie. They're all amazing, amazing people. And Frank, I just want to thank you so much for being here. And I have to ask, how in the world did you get into this line of work?
Hmm.
It's a
Wow.
big question.
Right? I know that's a really big kind of question and a big lead in. I don't know that I really had a choice in the whole matter. Here I am now. And looking back at everything, there really was no other direction that I was supposed to take. This is where am supposed to be. But truly, before life kind of took a turn and my health took a huge turn, I was just living, and that was it. but it wasn't really, I wasn't living consciously at all.
Mm.
I was more in the programming of society and, putting forth effort and putting forth work. The more you put in, the more you get out, that sort of framework. And oh my gosh, for years, I just worked and worked. There were some uh, periods where I worked 2 40-hour-a-week jobs. I went to school and worked full time also, where I was working third shift and I was going to school part time. And I would take like 2 3 hour naps in between, and that was it. That's kind of what I
Wow.
did for my weeks. And then, just like everybody else in Wisconsin in this area, I saved the weekends for partying. And that's kind of the area and kind of what I grew my life into, I guess. And that, kind of truly is what happened, I guess. And that unconscious living really kind of caught up to me. And we found out that we had mold in our bedroom, and actually that was after we had already had our health crisis and health
Wow.
issues coming in. But um, we had Lyme through mold exposure, increased mold exposure, and that was kind of the tipping point. Um, Now, it didn't just happen then. It was more of a progression into, little bit by little bit, this medication to help this symptom, this medication to help that symptom, this medication here. And then before you know it, you're up to 12 medications, nothing is helping, and life just really starts to look kind of crappy. Um, and then when you can't find any answers, and then it's almost like the medical institutions start saying, "Oh, it's all in your head."
Yep.
Well, I don't know how many of you have heard that, but I mean that's pretty destructive. Well, I didn't want to take that line of thought, and neither did my wife. And Julie's a registered nurse, and she's in that framework for quite a while. And we started looking outside of it, and so we found an integrated physician. So that's Eastern and Western philosophies linked together. And that was kind of our introduction to something different, into something more. It was a shift away from the normal Western model of care, if you really want to call it that. And so that was our first introduction into something different. And like you said earlier in the introduction, that's where I met my first Reiki Master teacher.
Mm.
So that's where I really started getting an introduction into the metaphysical understanding of things as an adult. I had different things when I was a child that really kind of should have opened me up a little bit more to things like this. And I don't know that I really took them um, in that aspect. I think more or less I wanted to kind of shy away from those aspects of my life. But when I was 3, I had pneumonia and I was in the hospital and I was in a bubble. And there was a nurse that came in, and I was scared. I was frightened. I didn't know what was going to happen to me. I didn't know, where things were leading. And she said, "Oh no, everything is going to be just fine, and you're going to go home pretty soon. It'll be okay. You'll be
Wow.
just fine." So okay, great. So she left, and then my mom and a nurse came in, and I told this to my mom, and she said, "Oh, I don't think there's another nurse on duty right now." So she came back in with the only nurse that was on duty. So ultimately, I had just spoke with a nurse that was at the facility, um, but probably just in energetic shape and not a physical form. So that was kind of some of my first exposures. Um, I know I've spoke many times about my mom and our relationship in public and at public talks. So there was some definite abuse in there, but there are many things that she kind of brought to the table that helped with my understanding of the world and just how to accept and look at life in a more positive way, and then huh, later on, it really came down to focusing on how our health crisis was something that was done for us and not to us. Because
That's
it really did start opening up our eyes to something completely new and different and started shifting life in a totally different direction. And, as much as it was hell going through it, I was coming off medications that you aren't really supposed to come off of. And some of that was
wow.
antidepressive medications. And I had 6 months where I was like, um, yeah, in a different frame of mind. And it was very, very difficult. So, shifting through all that, yes, keeping in mind that, these things that were coming into my life were coming into my life for a reason, a purpose, and that it wasn't being done to me, that it was being done for me. And all of these things were bringing me to someplace totally different and someplace that I could live more authentically, more vibrantly, more in the now, instead of just kind of going about life in a generic term.
That's something really important. You've had there's a lot of really great points in there. And I think one of the biggest in my team, for those of you who know, I have a team on the non-physical. And one of the big points for them that they were excited about is when you said on here, life happens for us and not to us. And that's something really important because a lot of times it feels like the worst parts of our life. And then as we work through them and we realize we're not the victim of it, and instead it's happening for us, and we start finding how it's helping us in so many ways. Once you started that mindset, because I'm sure you didn't have that mindset your whole time, correct?
Oh gosh, no, my gosh, no. It was dark and dreary, and now when I look back at it, and that whole time, that whole experience has helped me tremendously with what I do for people now with like QHHT and BQH, because we talk very intimately for a very long period of time about what it is that the person's going through. And to have that understanding, because I've actually experienced it and I've lived through something that I could have sat in that moment and never come out again. How many people have that experience, but they stay there and they don't rise up and they don't get back up from it. And they just kind of limit themselves to that singular experience and that all of life is just beating them down. And that everything that they experience past that is still beating them down. And they never just, pull their bootstraps up and just say, okay, I'm going to go for this and I'm going to, life actually happens for me. It doesn't have to really keep you mired in that same crap. And
Yes.
that's one thing that I appreciate. Going through that experience, I can help share that with others that look, that one moment that you're held down or that one moment that you've experienced that has been like heartbreaking, that has been, destructive for your entire being is not the only experience that you have. And it's not the only way to look at it either. That is one thing that my mom did share with me so long ago. And I think maybe it just took me until I was an adult to figure it out or to actually go through that experience is that everything does have a silver lining to it. Everything does have, some internal mechanism within it that is for you and that can be viewed as a positive for you to experience and to learn from. And, as much as it really, really sucks in the moment,
Yes.
taking from that and really investigating and kind of looking at it and shifting. And that's one thing that I really talk about a lot is shifting your perception about the moment, shifting your perception into something that is more positive for your life and your experience. Because as we continue to grow and as we continue to move on our path, understanding that where we live, it's out here in reality, but yet it's not. It's also up here. It is in our mind. So the more that we continue to look at the negative aspects of what we're going through, the more negative aspects our life is going to share with us. The more negative things that we're going to experience and we're going to see. But the more times that we can actually start looking at those moments that were difficult or hard and understand the lesson within those that we're supposed to take as a positive, our life is really going to start opening up in more positive ways and it's going to share with us more positive things.
Yeah. And that's something so very true. And I'm going to say, a lot of the things you talked about where you're looking at where you came from, I've also had some similar experiences. And being able to switch how you look at it
Mhm.
really creates such freedom within
It
you and
does.
releases so much within you to be
Mhm.
able to really see that silver lining. And my team is just coming in and they're saying the silver lining's been there for all of you the whole time.
Yep.
It's when you're willing to see it.
Yep.
And it's just us moving through it. And it's not to criticize yourself because you didn't see it when you were 3 or 5 or
Right.
15 or 20 or 25.
Right.
It's okay. You saw it when you needed to. When you needed it the most, you were able to see it and able to pull yourself through that. And that
Yep.
takes strength. Really, it takes strength to switch that because just as you said, and my team is just kind of going, and there's a culture here in Wisconsin. I'm in Wisconsin, you're in Wisconsin. There's a big drinking culture here, a big one. And
Big. Big. It's worldwide. Yep.
it's
Yep.
worldwide.
Known
Like
worldwide. Yep.
do a little investigating on the drinking
Oh yeah.
capacity of
Yep.
Wisconsin, and
Right.
it's a lot.
I didn't realize that Wisconsin is like out of all drinking competitions. They're banned.
They're banned because they have such a high tolerance.
Yes.
And I, you know, from my experience with my own family, there's a lot of
Yeah.
highly functioning alcoholics here. And it takes, my team is laughing. I say it takes a lot to get them pickled.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But
So,
I feel like with you witnessing it and going through it is realizing like you can make a change.
yep.
You don't have to fall into that same culture. You can make a change and break the cycles.
Right.
And that's
Yep.
something you've done.
Mhm. Yep. There are so many reasons why people can stay in this role of being disempowered. But, what does it do? What does it really do for you? I mean, other than in many instances, you playing the victim role, gets you support from others. It has others, coming to your aid and your rescue and doing things for you, but at that time, at that same point, then it starts to become a manipulation. Um, and I saw that all too well, the later years with my mom, and then a lot of other things that happened throughout the experience with her, and how she utilized certain things that happened in her childhood as kind of her victim role within the rest of her life. But, taking control of your experience and getting out of that victim role is a very empowering thing. And the more that you can empower yourself through looking back at those moments and learning the lessons that maybe weren't
Mm.
so apparent in those moments, I mean, those things are huge. Those things really start shifting your life in a more positive and I can even say dramatic way.
Yes.
Because, oh my gosh, like all of those things that you've experienced and gone through, like, look, it doesn't matter if you like come out on top every single time, but you lived through them. You made it through them. So all of that education that you're getting that maybe doesn't exactly feel great. Wow, look at all of that experience that you're gaining and all of those things that you could learn if you just opened yourself up to that possibility that, oh, well, that really sucked. But this is what I learned from it, and this is what I'm going to move forward with. This is what I'm going to take as my positive note. And the negative note, well, that came along with it. So you're still going to take some of those negative aspects of those experiences, whether you like it or not. I mean, it just is.
Yeah.
But it's what you focus on and how you actually integrate that into your life moving forward. That is, what that moment was for and what that lesson is for and how it is going to start shaping things down the road.
And I think that's really important to realize is, looking back, some of the stuff, it wasn't all, roses and everything else. It sucked. So admit it sucked.
Yep,
But what did you learn from it? To know. And that's the biggest thing. I think a lot of people think, oh, you've got to, the forgiveness thing is to me is kind of it's forgiving yourself for being in that situation.
that's a
It's
big one.
not for forgiving actions or words or things that happened.
Right.
That's a bunch of bunk in my mind. It's admitting it sucked.
Yep. No, I
But
gotta say, I went back and there are things, and one of the main reasons why I talk about perception is because that's one way that I go back into my childhood and start shifting my perception about that. But with that work, I've been able to forgive my mom for those instances because I was able to look at things in a way that I could see, myself in her shoes.
right.
And, so to that end, I understand. I mean, there are some people that, or some moments that maybe I wouldn't forgive
Yeah,
the aggressor, you know.
right.
There are other things when we start talking about the quantum relationship with it, then it really starts getting very entangled. Um, but yes, I can see, where there are moments where forgiveness is very difficult, but definitely, putting that light on yourself and saying, hey, yeah, you were there. Yes, you were in the experience. And you know what? Give yourself a little bit of grace that, you didn't know better. So yeah, forgive yourself. Just
And
allow.
and that's it. You didn't in the moment, there was no other choice you could have made in the moment.
Yeah,
And to know like, okay, from there forward, now I can make different choices, but in that moment, that was my choice. That was the way I could go.
right.
And just to understand that sometimes you don't have all the answers. You don't have the new ways of doing things until you learn, and the more you learn, the easier it becomes and the faster you can step out of those cycles.
Mhm. Mhm.
And you mentioned, and my team is niggling me back. They're niggling me back to when you were talking about the nurse who came in to see you at 3.
Yeah.
And they're saying think of how that communication happened and and gave you the sense of calm you needed
Oh
in the
yeah.
moment. And now how years later you're now doing QHHT. So because of that connection, the quantum connection, can you explain a little bit of QHHT and
Ooh.
what's the other one?
BQH,
QBT?
BQH. So
One of those.
QHHT is quantum hypnosis. Uh, oh my gosh, now I just had a brain fart. Uh,
Is it quantum
well,
hypnosis healing technology?
yes, yes, there you go. My goodness, I was off in another tangent. And then BQH stands for Beyond Quantum Healing. And they are similar techniques. One was derived from the other. The QHHT came first. That was started by and taught by Dolores Cannon. And then BQH is through Candace Craw Goldman. And she was, I believe, the first level 3 QHHT practitioner studied under Dolores directly and then basically got Dolores's love to go ahead and start her own branch, which basically opened up things a little bit differently than QHHT did. QHHT can only be done in person. BQH can actually be done online and allows for a lot more incorporation and a lot more personability. So where QHHT is done with a specific script written by Dolores, and which she absolutely did time and time again. She's over thousands of people. She honed in on what was accurate and what was great for her scripting. So and I appreciate it, and I'm grateful for both QHHT and BQH coming into my life because of how it really incorporates a lot of the things that I appreciated when I went to school for psychology, and how that connects with people in a different way. But this is a little bit more dynamic, where you start talking about quantum realities and quantum understanding of things. And if you start looking at how we all blend together into one, and how all aspects of the one interplay within our existence. So if I really look at the opening up of the nurse when I was 3 into my reality, um, having that understanding that there is something greater than the physical world really opens me up to the possibility of so many more things. And then now, with a lot of the things that I'm getting into and that I'm connecting with and understanding, that understanding becomes even broader and greater into, looking at interdimensional beings and I don't know that they like to be called aliens, but aliens, and so how we are connected to all of these living beings that either we see or don't see. We could even talk about fairies and gnomes and the likes, and keep going on and on and on about all of the things that we are and we are connected to. And you're never going to experience anything like that until you're open to it. And so when I was young, when we start looking at quantum healing, we help to put people into what's considered a brainwave state of theta. So that is just before you get into delta, which would be when you go to sleep. So theta is when you actually start seeing images and you start experiencing the dream state. So when you are young, roughly between the ages of 5 and 7, when you're born up and through that state, that's what your kind of normal capacity is in a theta state. And so when I'm 3 and I'm in this state and I'm extremely ill,
Right.
and yeah, because I was having some extreme issues, to have something from the other side come to me to calm me and to bring comfort to me, that opens you up to the understanding of so much more. And even though, once we start losing that theta state and that creative ambition and that connection to maybe everything that there is, not everybody does,
Right.
but I mean, obviously, Angela knows. Uh,
Wow.
But when we start kind of losing that, or we start stepping away from, for
Yeah.
some of us, um, you just kind of live your life, and then it may return or it may not. And with me, I'm glad that I had that experience because then my mind was open to so much more possibility that was out there, whether I held on to that aspect of or not. Now, I did have some more like paranormal type experiences when I was in high school. Some pretty interesting dream things that manifested or were directed, shall we say. Um, there were a lot of different nuances to my life that really made me or kept me open to possibilities beyond this reality, beyond what you see, feel, touch, all of that. So now working within the quantum, that really helps me when somebody's, I put somebody in a trance state and they tell me that they're a dragon. Okay, so tell me more about this. Not to poo-poo it or to, call the psych ward or anything like that, because it's not, it's something real, it's something tangible, it's something that's possible that, somebody's soul or somebody's energetic composition has been or is going to be within something that is not human.
Yes.
So somebody comes through as a bug and has a very, very short-lived life before they're squished. That's something. Um, but it doesn't make me think that they're mentally ill or deranged because I'm open to the possibility and understanding that there is life on other planets. It may not be something tangible that we can see in this vibration or in this frequency, but because it is possible within other frequencies. We can't see everything within the spectrum of light that we're allowed within this human form. However, there are other beings, there are bugs, there are, flying insects that have a much larger range of sight than we do. And so some of those things that are existing, well, we just can't see them. A lot of times, I'm a sensor, so I sense a lot of things. I feel things. We live in a house that's over 150 years old, and there's definitely some things that come through, and the family that used to live here, they still congregate, and so around the holidays, we feel a lot of energy that keeps coming through. So, um, but yeah, it's quite an interesting experience.
And I think, and for those out there, if when what we were talking about people being a dragon or a bug or different things like that. So for those of you who want to do some more investigation, check out more of Dolores Cannon's. She has interviews she's done with thousands and thousands of people and all of the different aspects that come through the different lifetimes they've lived. And it doesn't have to be a human lifetime as we look at it, but can be an animal, a cloud, a tree. It can be on a different universe. And I agree. I keep hearing my team laughing at the name alien because they're
Right?
not
Yeah,
so alien.
right? Most people can associate with that, but yeah, I mean they're interdimensional beings, or beings that are unlike human, but yet like human.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, it's I don't know. I don't feel like they really call themselves. Yeah, I'm an alien.
No.
So,
And I usually I call them, and you can call them whatever you want. They don't really care. But for me, I call them star nations because some
oh
people get a
sure.
little freaked out over alien, and I'm like, well, they're from other stars, so I just call them star nations, people
Yeah.
from different star nations. And like I said, whatever works for you. But there, and like you said, there is much, much, much to be explored in the non-physical for now. And I say that
Right.
non-physical for now because as more and more people are raising their vibrations and their frequencies, more and more of these worlds are going to be able to be seen and be able to be seen by many, many more people. I keep hearing by the masses. Are there still going to be people who can be standing right next to you and not experience anything? Absolutely, because they're at a different frequency than you are. So don't compare yourself to others. That's the big thing. Don't compare yourself to others because everyone's frequency is different. You're going to
Right.
see and experience things differently. Just as like with you, Frank, you've experienced not only that at 3, but I know many other things along the way that have also helped you to help clear your path, help you understand your path more. And
Yep.
those experiences are your frequency adjusting to theirs and coming together. It's all part of that quantum physics. And I think it's awesome that there's so much happening right now with the quantum physics field and how much people are putting this, I'm just going to say the woo-woo world, as they say, and the scientific, how they're really coming together. It to
Mhm.
me, it's an amazing connection and collaboration to see.
I agree. And the especially like the direction that things are headed as far as the quantum world goes, realizing that. at the moment, what we understand about physics is what we understand about physics, not
Yes.
all there is about physics, and how eventually there's going to be that blow up, that shift, that pop that is going to open up more of an understanding about different aspects of physics that we don't understand right now. And I feel like that's really a very, very cool direction that we're headed in. And I'm glad that there are those scientists out there that do take that understanding and that role of continued exploration and continued understanding. And a lot of it does have to do with what we're experiencing and what we're going to be going through in the coming years.
And and I think that's really important with right now. A lot more people are waking up and they want the hard facts. And that's why it's so important to have the scientists out there. They're doing the experiments, but they're also all the data. They're collecting all that data and they're having it for people. It's absolutely amazing to see. And people say, "Well, what about the skeptics?" I love the skeptics because they're digging into the data. They want to have all the facts. So, what a
Mhm.
great way to bring us all together at this time.
Oh, yep. Yep. It's a very interesting time to be alive and to be around and well, to have chosen to be here. And that's, you
Yes.
know, all of us. That's all of us. We all chose to be here at this particular time, whether you understand that or not, whether
Yes.
want to actually agree to that or not. We've all agreed to this. We've all asked to be here, and we're all experiencing it on so many different levels. And it is just, oh, wow, it's a wonder. It's a real joy and a wonder. It doesn't always feel like a joy. Some of these energetic shifts come around that, potentially take me down for a day or two, but it still is it's wild, just wild.
And I love how you said we chose to be here.
Yeah,
We absolutely all chose to be here to experience it, but not just experience it,
right?
to bring our energy into this shift.
Mhm.
To
Yep.
bring our, I hate to call them gifts because it's not really gifts, it's who we are. It's our innateness of who we are. We each have this uniqueness that you're bringing to the world at this time. And you came here to bring that in. Everybody is so important at this time.
Oh, yeah.
And and that's why you started. So I've got to ask, how did you go? And I know Julie is into the regular, like the RN, the nurse aspect of it. And then you went and started and did the Reiki. And just explain to people who don't know Reiki what that is. And
Oh,
then
sure.
also, but why, after you experienced it, did you decide to also learn how to do it?
Um, so, okay, I'll start from here. So, what is Reiki? Okay. Uh, Reiki is ultimately a frequency of energy that I've been attuned, so connected to ultimately, and I can channel that healing energy into the world for others, myself, whatever, events. Gosh, it's endless, really, what I can draw that energy in for. Um, when I first heard about it, I said, "Oh yes, that's definitely for me." I I hadn't really heard about it, experienced it, anything before that, and as soon as I heard about it, I'm like, "Oh, yep, definitely, that's for me." How far do we go? And what? Oh, so there's levels to this? Okay. How long before I can take them all? Um, that's really ultimately kind of it. It just I don't know. I didn't really need much pushing. It was just this is what it is, and it can help you. It can help a lot of people. Oh, okay. Well, let's do it. Yep, I agree. Let's go for it. And from the very first class, feeling energy was really kind of cool. And then feeling how it was on another person and their biofield and the chakras and how those things, I don't like to use the word manipulated, but how that can be adjusted, how
Mhm.
you can shift someone's experience in a very, very quick amount of time, going from somebody coming to you. I mean, I've had people, now, granted, there were a few other things other than just Reiki, but I've had people come to me in a total mess, bawling, just completely mentally unhinged. And within a half hour, that person walked away hugging me and was just amazed to be back into a calm state of reality. Um, but no matter what level you go to in Reiki, you're kind of broadening your degree of channel. So level one is pretty simple. You if you want to consider like the top of your head and a straw is coming out of the top of your head, and then that's what you have to channel in that energy, right? So it's because you're first clearing a lot of those things about your own energy to allow more flow to happen with that energy that's coming through for others. So then in the second level, then you actually get to learn and understand how this energy that can influence the physical body within a close proximity, you can actually send it over distance. So I can send Reiki energy anywhere. It doesn't have to have, a close proximity. It doesn't have to be directly touched, which I shouldn't say I never. I don't touch others. I've physically touched myself to do Reiki. I physically touched my wife to do Reiki, but I don't actually touch clients when I'm doing a Reiki um, session. So I'm usually off the body. That's where my work normally is. So going into the second level and being able to send Reiki to anywhere was not far-fetched, but it these things start opening your mind to possibilities. So I could send Reiki to a situation. I could send Reiki to my past self. I can send Reiki to
Mhm.
past lifetimes of my own, so that certain things can either be cleared or eased on my journey through. So that then in this moment, then things will actually clear and be lesser than what I'm experiencing in that moment. I can send it to generational traumas. I can send it
Yeah.
into the future if that's if that's what there is to be. Some people too, cord cutting is something that, gets done, and pull people's energy back in from the past and from the future so that right now they're in the present moment and they're not feeling those things that are potentially that have them worried, that have them anxious, that, are creating situational things within their physical form right now. So then we go from level two into the master teacher level. And certain things really shift there, but ultimately, all the while, all of these different levels are opening up your straw so that that channel of energy is greater and greater. And so when we did our Holy Fire 3 Karuna Reiki training, we went out to Sedona, and that's an all-in-one inclusive 3-day training. And we did that at Peace Place Gifts. With Michael Baird. And there were a lot of nuances with that were really interesting because that was when COVID started and everything incrementally shut down up to the time of our training. And then when we flew back, it was like 13 people on the plane, back into O'Hare Airport. And O'Hare
Wow.
Airport was apocalyptical because there was nobody there and just the TVs were on covering everything about COVID. And
Oh,
but yeah, that shift and that level was just immense. The
mm.
the difference in what we were experiencing and then coming back home to that was just wild. Um, so
See, that would be so, so different to be going to the space where you're dealing with energy everywhere and no limitations to then coming back into almost this surreal apocalypse
yes,
going on. It's like that had to be, wow, what a difference in just showing what's possible
yes,
from a distance, especially.
from a distance. Yep, yep. But yeah, it definitely. kind of shifted things and allowed, it was kind of created a more openness for us. And so when I started going into the close town where I worked, because I was one of those essential workers, um, it was different, traveling in because we lived in the country and we had just moved
Mhm.
out to the country about in a year before this all occurred. And wow, the difference when you started getting close to a big town,
Mm.
and feeling everybody's anxiety and the fear and the trepidation of what is occurring, but yet feeling all of that almost like it's the first time that you felt something like that. Even
Mm.
though I was still a Reiki master before that, it was just a totally different feel. Um, Probably because my energy had been cleared and intensified, because my straw got much bigger. But yeah, it's wild. But it really started showing me a lot more of what's possible within the human form,
Mm.
with energy and how energy and frequency really influences us. And so that's one, I'm super grateful that Reiki was part of my journey and has been part of my journey and my life. I use Reiki quite often. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's every day, but most days I use Reiki. And I've got different clearing things that I do quite frequently, as well as, of course, work with clients.
And that's it's really important to realize with, like you said, with Reiki. Reiki it's a way for them to teach you how to handle and work with the energy that's around us all the time,
Mhm.
how to tap into it, how to tap into what's there. And that really flows into the quantum healing. Everything's quantum, everything's there. Energy is accessible all the time if we're willing to step into it. And you stepping into it and really and moving it forward. And I love how you said, my team is niggling me back to when you said it can be used for situations, events. And
Mhm.
that's to keep that in mind because there's a lot of situations and events the world is going through right now
Right.
and will continue to go through because I'm not a sugarcoater. I'm just letting everybody know there's a
Yep.
more coming.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I agree. I agree with that. Yep, there's more coming.
But
Uh,
the thing is, when you have that ability, that innate ability where you have the ability to work with the energy in all these situations and events to help to have an effect on all of this. And I feel it helps create a calmness within you because you're
Mhm.
not helpless, you're not the victim,
Right,
you're not something's happening to you, but instead, what can I do for it?
right. Absolutely. And it's everything that we've gone through, everything that we know, everything that we share, everything that we have at our fingertips is what we call in our toolbox. So it's our toolbox of care for whatever it is we're going through. I reach for Reiki so often because it's simple. It's right there. It's in the moment. I can do whatever it is that is necessary with utilizing that tool, calling that in. Even if it doesn't clear 100% of whatever is going on, it will shift the situation so that within a period of time, it's going to open up something else for us to understand or to walk through. Yeah.
That's something really important what you just said right there. Even though it may not fix it the way you're looking at it,
Mhm.
to know that it's going to be opening up something else that'll help new things come into place for new energy to come in
Yep.
to start making a difference, maybe in a different way than we anticipated. And my team is coming in. They just want everyone to know a lot of times as humans, we can't see everything, how it needs to play out, but they
Yep.
can see everything. And they know, and I say it's a team I work with in the non-physical, not a political thing. So just putting that out there. But they know that there's something at play, but in just our energy of the want to have
Mhm.
change
Yep.
is huge. And I think that's something for you. It was the want to have change in your life that
Well,
created so much.
yeah, and I don't even know. I think it was I think it was the need, the
Yeah.
desire. to have something different, have something more, to shift out of the parts of my life that just weren't working. They weren't going somewhere.
Yeah.
And revisiting those same patterns, those same loops that really were not serving my highest good. They weren't serving my purpose. And even though that I, at the time really just had no idea what my purpose was,
Right.
it just wasn't serving, who I could be or my highest level of self. And I think that once I started stepping into or onto this path, I mean, granted, it's the same path. It is the path, the only path. But once I started shifting things into a greater understanding of what is possible, what there is out there to connect with, it started opening up so much more for me. And it really started directing me towards more of my purpose and more of having to, I guess, step more into my light and step more into and away from the fear of being seen. And I think
Um,
that is one of the things that so many people have problems with and they are afraid of. And um, staying small doesn't get you those things that you desire. Staying small just because you are apprehensive of the gifts that you have been shown or that you have, opened up within this reality. Um, Opening yourself up for others to see and to share in your experience is a blessing.
yeah.
So the more that I've gone down this path and opened myself up for more of these experiences, that's what's really kind of directed and shown me more of what I'm here to accomplish and what I'm here to put forth. So that's
I
really
think
what
that
Reiki's done.
I think that's really important though, because there's so many people that you're afraid, and a lot of times it's, our past coming in. Sometimes it's our past lives, but it's a lot of times it's this life. You're afraid to speak up. You're afraid to put yourself out there. You're afraid to do that. And it's much easier to be small. There's not as much, you don't have to worry about so much, but yet it feels very uncomfortable when you're small because a lot of times if I feel when you make yourself small, it leads to depression a lot of times. And to bring ourselves through that, to realize by doing who you are, and you talked about purpose. Sometimes the purpose is for yourself just to not be small. And once you start not being small and speaking your voice, the rest of it starts making sense, starts showing up. And I don't know about you, but I still don't know my purpose. I'm still working on it.
You know, I think that I have an idea of what my
Yeah.
purpose is, but I think that that's always going to just keep unfolding.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's any one purpose for any one person. I
Yes.
do feel like, things kind of keep opening up as we keep progressing on the path. And here you are, this is more of what, you're here to do. This is what you're here to experience. And it may not always be pleasant.
Yeah.
But it is something that you signed up for, and here you are. You're going to get every little bit of it. And yeah, but I definitely think, that everything that I've experienced has opened me up to doing what it is that I'm doing right now. And there's so much more opening up in front of me that sometimes, I step back and say, holy crap, this is monstrous. But accepting it and not shying away from it because I'm gonna only experience a tiny little bit or a fraction of what I'm supposed to be here to experience if I do that. And once you start opening yourself up and standing in the light, it's really, really hard to step aside and not be a part of that. um, because there is so much that people are searching for right now. And if we don't voice the things that we've gone through and the experiences that we've had, there's still going to be so many people that are stuck in the dark.
Yeah.
And so that's what it is about coming out and being more open and sharing everything that we've experienced or that we've gone through, the things that we do and the things that we've helped people with as well. Um, it helps so many more people than just those people that were right in front of us, and that's one of the reasons why I've developed the coaching program and the coaching app is because I can only do so much for people one-on-one.
Yeah.
And it just, I really did. I started going through the numbers and I'm like, well, really? I mean, that's it? I can only help out so many people per year because I can only do like roughly one session a day. And I can't work 7 days a week. So wow, that's not very many people. But like Angela, we've been to a lot of the same events and you talk to people and you keep hearing the same repetitive questions, the same repetitive statements of, hey, I'm on this. This just started happening to me. Like I don't know why, but I feel so anxious. And yeah, the energy here, which people start talking like that then, and they're like, well, the energy here is just so different, and I don't know. It's kind of I feel a little anxious and I'm weirded out. I'm feeling apprehensive when I'm in large public groups and
Yeah.
all of this and. So, you keep hearing that. And so that's ultimately what started off the framework for my coaching program was to help people on their path from, just coming online, if you want to call it that, into living more consciously in a spiritual way. So it's a spiritually consciousness self-guided coaching program. And I don't know when it first started like coming through and I was starting to get guided to do this, I had no idea where it would be in a year. But like Angela and I were talking before we came on, oh my gosh, it's monstrous. It really is a huge undertaking, and I'm really excited for when it does come out later this year. Um, for
It's
people to
it's a
experience.
mon for those of you who don't know, it's a huge thing, and it's called the 1111 Collective Connection is what Frank has been working on, and he has his own individual counseling and his own the QHHT and the sound healing, the lot that he can do online individually with people. Oh,
Whew.
excuse me. But I was going to sneeze and then it stopped. But he's been working on putting people together, finding a way. And I think I'll let you explain what drew you to bring it together and what has it evolved into now?
Whew. Well, like I said, it was going to these fairs and talking with people that were having similar or same type of situations when they were starting to wake up and starting to kind of pull out of the programming, if you really want to call it that, but not really understanding what was going on, not really um, knowing where to turn either. And then me kind of sitting back and saying, when I first started coming online and we started having our health struggles, I had nowhere else to go. I had no one to turn to. We had nobody that we knew that could really help us out like this. And um, the Reiki teacher, that was great, but still at the same time, it didn't hold much community. And that's really kind of what shifted within the framework of what I'm doing now. So I first started putting together this coaching framework, and I figured, okay, great, this could be something that I could put on school and that I could direct people to, because in my quantum sessions, I have such an amazing experience and such an amazing push for people that are on their spiritual path. And oh my gosh, the transformations that can come from that. We're talking, spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, shifting someone's entire existence in the matter of one session. And it's amazing, truly, truly amazing what can be done there. But like I said, I can only do so many of those sessions. And so if I can actually get somebody to, progress up to a level where they understand where they're at and they can start taking more of an active conscious role in their own life, understanding that the main cage that they've got themselves in is coming from themselves, and then how to open the door and walk through. And that's really where things kind of were starting. Now, it got to be 6 months in, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. This goes quite a ways, but I don't know that I have all that it takes, and that I should be the only person that comes through, because there's a lot of people going through this, and spiritual consciousness is not a singular direction.
Right.
It's an all direction sort of situation. And it's an all direction way of living. So you go through the coaching program, and I'm not here to tell you what direction you're supposed to live. It's already in you. You already know where you're supposed to be, what type of life you have, what type of life you're directed or you desire to live. And so to have more people's perspective put into this, especially people that I align with energetically, mentally, that's amazing for other people. So to have that support, to have that community, that's what I wanted to bring forth. So I started to call people up, and I said, "Hey, Angela, I would love for you to be a part of this program with me." And she gladly said yes. So Angela was one of the first three people that I reached out to bring into this platform as a support, as an expert, as a practitioner, as a contributor. So now I'm looking at, we're over 20 practitioners that are a part of the platform. I'm still bringing on some more practitioners yet. But each person brings a little bit something from their experiences, from the modalities that they bring in, and in with the framework of the modules that are within the program, which is roughly about a 9-month program. Then we just have conversations, and that brings more to light for the person based around whatever is in the coaching program. And I think through it, so many times it's said, but I definitely try and reiterate this as many times as possible. We are not gurus that are standing on top of the mountain that are looking down at you saying, "Hey, do you need a hand down there?" We're living life too, and we're going about our life right along with you. And we're just here to lend support and the things that we know how to help with and give you aid and community, so that when you're going through whatever it is you're going through, you're not doing it alone. You have places to reach out. And yes, there's a lot of different groups on Facebook. The thing that I can't get past is there are so many other things on Facebook
Right.
that that detract from your attention, as far as your self improvement, or whatever it is that you were looking to adjust within your life. You got a lot of things there that are keeping you right exactly where they want you, or where you are, or in those negative frameworks that really don't suit you and that aren't going to elevate you into the next evolution of your life. So with that said, I had been looking into school, and there were a lot of different aspects of school that I really appreciate. And I've done other things on school. And so I looked at starting to put the program into school, but started to shift gears a little bit, because I said, oh, there's a number of different things that maybe aren't going to work for me. So I decided to go ahead and start building an app. That app has since turned into a platform. So when the 1111 Collective Connection comes out, which is going to be later this year, we will have between 25 and 30 practitioners that are going to be within the framework of the program. There's going to be a section for workshops that will be additional to the coaching program. There is live streaming events. There's a full calendar of events that'll be on there. So all the practitioners that are involved, whatever they're doing, will have it in there. And these practitioners are not just from Wisconsin alone. We've got Wisconsin, Minnesota, um, I don't know about Iowa. Anyways, Nevada, Mississippi, Arkansas. I'm looking at Arizona as well. I've got East Coast, so I think she's moving to Tennessee. But there's practitioners from all over the US that are a part of this. So not only is it going to be, people from the Midwest, but from all over. So you're getting a diverse interaction from people that have diverse areas that they live in, so diverse understandings, which is amazing and great. There's also a booking section, so you can book individualized sessions with the practitioners that are on, because trust me, as you're going through your journey, no matter what it is, if you go through the coaching program, awesome, amazing. If you don't, not a problem. But if you are increasing your awareness and looking at your life, you are going to need support. And you're more than likely going to need external sessions so that you can get a little bit of an adjustment, so that you can have that person walk beside you at least for a while and get some assistance. So that's a part of the app. And then there's also going to be a complete marketplace. So some of those things that you're looking for that to assist, whether it's books, whether it's crystals, whether it's love lingo is on there. So if it's a piece of clothing that is supportive on your journey, it's in there. So all of these things are going to be wrapped up and bundled into this singular platform that has limited distractions. I'm not going to say that there's never going to be a distraction, um, but limited distractions, and everybody is directed towards that particular singular purpose, and that is spiritual consciousness. And that is elevating people, lifting them up, giving them support, community, and assisting along the way. And that's truly, I mean, I feel like this is just, I would have loved to have had something like this when I first started off, but this is hugely supportive for people that are on a journey. And when I start talking about like spiritual consciousness, I don't want to throw anybody off. This is a non-denominational type
Yeah.
of spirituality. If you believe in God, that's amazing. If you believe in spirit, the I am, awesome. That's great. Bring it in. Bring in your understanding to this area of people, and that's where we all come from. We all come from different understandings of what it means to be human, what it means to be spirit, what it means to, connect with something greater. And that's ultimately what I appreciate about bringing everybody in, is that we're not all from some lineage of this or of that. We all have different aspects, because look, you all started off your path someplace, but you're all converging in someplace to connect with people. And, from there, we just keep on moving and we keep on branching. And you're going to gravitate towards somebody's idea of what it is to move beyond where you're at. And that's amazing. And that's what we're all there to do, is support each other. We may not always see exactly eye to eye on every aspect of what goes on, but that's okay too, because it's a discussion then. And, from all of that, then we learn more and we adjust and keep moving forward. But
Yeah, that's the thing, and I've got to say thank you so much for having me be part of this new platform that you're creating because I know, and my team has told me it's so needed for people to
Mhm.
have this space of being supported, of finding different modalities, different people, because I tell people all the time, I'm going to teach you or show you multiple ways, but I want you to make it your own. It's
Right,
your journey. It's not mine. It's yours. Here's ideas. Here's things that have worked for me. Now
right.
take them and run with them. Do it your own. And I love how the fact that you have all different practitioners, all different modalities in there,
Oh
because
yeah.
then people can go with, do I resonate with this? Do I resonate with that? Because we are all different. We are all unique. And why should we all believe the same thing? We're not
Right.
here to believe the same thing. We're here to explore all the possibilities.
Yep. Or, get into what you gravitate towards, what you connect with. And I don't want to be exclusionary in any way because, that's how we all grow. By accepting and understanding that there is more than just our one perspective on things.
Yes.
And even from a quantum, understanding of things, if you've got neck pain or if you've got, your head doesn't move in any direction, well, start opening yourself up to other possibilities. And that ultimately is going to start shifting so much for you. And yeah, I don't know, when I first started bringing practitioners on, it all felt so easy and comfortable
Yeah.
within the framework of who was coming in. And everybody that I brought in, you know, little nuances here or there where I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know how I align with that. But no, I align with it. Yeah, it's good. So yeah, there are so many different understandings of what this is, um, how we connect and work through it and, are conscious through it, that having all of these practitioners involved is, wow, man, it's a blessing. It's really great to have everybody together. And it's not something where, I don't know, where they don't know each other either. Because so many of us know each other. So many of us have connected outside of the platform. Where so many of us actually we've either been at different events together or, connect on social media or something like that. Or as soon as they know, like, oh, well, this person's a part of the 1111. Okay, I'm gonna reach out and we're gonna connect and this and
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So it really is, oh man. I can't wait for the platform to get up. I can't wait for everybody to come in. And yeah, once we start opening it up to the public, I'm super excited. I can't, yeah. I can wait because it's still work on my end to get to
There's,
that point.
there's a lot of work.
There's
And I gotta say,
still,
for people out there who have no idea, Frank is doing a tremendous amount of work getting this all together, putting this all together, creating a something that flows easily and people can navigate easily. It's a tremendous amount of work. And I commend you for doing that.
yeah. But I tell you what, it's been great. And I do find joy in the process. And you know, just putting together the program itself, I can see the transformation. And that's the thing that's gotten me so excited is the transformation that we're going to see from others. And yeah, I love it. It's really great.
And that's one of the things when Frank asked me is to be a part of this too, is because I know, like Frank had said before, as a one single person, you can't reach everybody.
Oh,
But as a collective working together, you can reach and connect to a lot more people. Because this isn't, I'm going to speak for myself, but for myself, I want to help people understand more of who they are and connect to more that's out there, expand their consciousness. Because the more they do, it's not just for me, it's for them because I have felt myself more happiness, more joy, more freedom than ever before in my life. And for people to be able to feel that and to know they're much more than just human, To me, that's the ultimate. To know that there is so much more to connect to and they are understanding. They can do it on their own. That's the biggest thing is for people to take it and run with it and go, wow, I had this great experience and I'm feeling so good. What a beautiful world when people are
Right?
excited and feeling good. And we can all have different opinions. There's nothing wrong with that. But to be able to accept people for who they are and go from there and let go of the anger. I don't care if you got a different opinion. Great. Let's discuss it and see why you have a different opinion. And let's take it from there. This is a time of such extreme growth. And I think for Frank, I think for you, is that a lot of why you wanted to see other people succeed and to
Well,
grow?
yeah, you kind of come around and there are a lot of experiences that you have within these spiritual groups, shall we say, and you start seeing a lot of the infighting. You start seeing the people that are not genuine,
Yeah.
and and how they hold competition there as part of the journey.
Yes.
And I think that was kind of another big portion of this was to bring these, all of the practitioners and contributors and experts to be a part of that community without competition. Because, okay, as you all know, I do QHHT and BQH. I am one of, I think, 5 or 6 practitioners on the platform that do that work.
Right.
It doesn't bother me to have them there because each one of us brings forth so much knowledge and information from our particular sessions, for one, our vast understanding of what's going on. I can't deny that these people are not talented and that do not have something to contribute. It's not about we're you know, um, competing for out of the same pool of people because that's
Right.
not the way that I look at that at all in any respect. Because one of the other first people that I contacted was Matt Schmidt, and he is extremely large in our area for QHHT, and there's no way, well, for quantum healing, let's put it that way. Let's take the rest of those letters out of that. Matt's amazing. Matt's a really good friend, and I couldn't see doing this without him. And they're just there's no competition there at all. And I felt like going into the different um, fairs and expos and stuff like that, where you'd see a lot of the backbiting and
Mhm.
stuff like that. I didn't appreciate that. That wasn't for me. And getting out of that avenue then as well, and out of those those rooms, that's another thing to do. Get away from that so that everyone understands that we're all a part of the same whole. And there is no competition because my frequency is going to bring the people that are supposed to see me to me, and that's it. The main thing that I saw a lot, and I still kind of hear and feel, is jealousy.
Yes.
Because, well, you've got certain things figured out and I don't. And that's okay. It's okay for me to have things figured out. There are other things that I have no dang clue of. And so, but yeah, yeah, pulling everyone together too. And the thing that I really appreciate as well about a community that can look beyond competition is that is a community that can in pull their intentions together and really influence things and really start putting forth some energy and change and adjust the energy around, let's say, events or around, healing or whatever it is that we
Yeah.
select as a focal point. It can be shifted greater with numbers. And
Yes.
so the more people that we bring into the platform, the more people that we bring into this community of like-minded individuals, the more people in the end will have a more guided consciousness and a more spiritually directed consciousness so that we can start influencing things on a much greater scale. I've
You
been
know,
in
and that's
containers that, I mean, you're talking 20,000 people and that type of energy, no matter what it is, because that is one of the things that helped to kick off this whole thing for me was being in a container of 20,000 people. And
mm,
okay, so what is it that you really want? I want to help more people.
yeah,
Boom. Where did it go from there? So yeah, it's massive what this can actually accomplish and what it can become.
absolutely. And I love the fact, like you had said, this isn't about competition. I know there's other people that do some of the same things I do. It doesn't matter.
Right?
Everybody has a unique energy and a unique frequency, and people are going to be drawn or resonate to different parts, different people. Everybody has a different take. Everybody's had so many different experiences. So
Mhm.
there's all these different knowledges. And my team is showing me kind of like when people sit around a fire and they're talking about one subject and one person says, "Oh, I had this experience," and "Oh, I had this experience," but they're all talking about the same thing. But with the
Yep.
unique experiences they had together, now it grows to something even different, even more expansive. And the numbers, and that's one of the things I felt too, is the numbers, bringing the people together, bringing the numbers of people. That's so important going forward because when we combine our energies, boy, you can't beat that.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all. It's a totally different experience than just the normal everyday. We were
Yes.
talking about going to an expo that I just attended recently called Contact Modalities Expo, just in case anyone's interested for next year. Um, but it was really great being around like-minded people, and being totally open and honest about what it is that you do and not feeling any judgment, not feeling any
Yeah.
competition, not feeling, like, oh, I've got to stay small because, well, I do this and nobody around me understands that.
Yeah.
Well, still, I've been at events where, a similar event and nobody understood what it was that I did either, but I was open and honest and able to talk about it and be received, when I
Yes.
when I talked and said stuff about it. So it's really great. And that vibration is just it puts you so high and you feel just an amazing connection whether you're around people or not within that space, because everyone is within that mental framework. And that, if you call it that, the collective consciousness of whatever event you're taking part in. And so that is just an amazing feeling to be amongst people like that.
And that, that's something for people that are like, oh, I don't know about energy. What are they talking about? So think of it this way. So many people, you go into a home or a business, and as soon as you walk in that home, sometimes you walk in and go, oh, this feels just like home. It feels so warm, so welcoming. And you could sit there for hours. And other times you walk into a home and you're going, oh, yeah, this feels a little dicey. I feel a lot of tension here. I don't know if I want to stay here very long. And you're going out of there. So, people, you've all experienced energy in one way or another. This is just a way to help understand the energy you're already experiencing and how to make it work not only for yourself, but if you want change in the world, this is how you do it.
Yep.
You get into your energy, you understand how to use your energy, and you use it. And you don't worry about if you're doing it the correct way or not, because whatever way you're doing it, if it's working for you, it's the correct way. And it's just understanding. We're working with energy. We're experiencing it every day. We just maybe haven't called it that before. I mean, think of the times you can be in a room and you'll feel someone looking at you. You're
Mhm.
feeling their energy.
Right?
So the energy's there. We're already feeling it. We already know we're more than human. Let's
Mhm.
step
Yep.
into it a little bit more.
A lot of parents out there too, that understand that your kid isn't doing something good, and they're
Yes.
behind you, but you feel it, you sense it, similar thing. You're just really connected to that particular individual, that particular energy, so it comes like second nature to you.
Yeah.
But now step out of that framework and kind of put that into a societal aspect of things. And we're a little bit further removed from each other, but yet we're the same thing. And
Yes.
we are all energy. We are all connected. We are all, if we go back far enough, we are all the same. We come from the same. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. Very powerful stuff that can come from this.
Absolutely. And it's just and a lot of it is just understanding because a lot of people have had these thoughts, these feelings, but didn't know how to put it into words or didn't know like, oh, maybe I'm the only one feeling that way. And now you're discovering there's a whole group out there. There's a whole group of support, and you're
Oh,
seeing more and more of it every day. And that's something you've been helping to bring through. And also my team is saying like when you do the Reiki and you're doing that, you're showing people that they can feel it even though you don't have to be there because you do
yeah.
distance Reiki and
Yep.
people feel it and yet they're not in the same room. It's
Yep.
so, so powerful.
Yeah, we started doing like sessions that were at fairs so that we could have part of the session there, part of the session was a remote session so that people could experience that and that they could, tell that there really was no difference whatsoever. And we were in Menominee and this woman came in and she hadn't experienced Reiki before at all. And she was kind of apprehensive and yet,
Mhm.
open to it, which is great. That's all you got to be is just open to it.
Right.
And in 15 minutes, yep, she had some emotional changes, emotional shifting, and she was crying, blissfully crying. Okay. I don't want to put that into a, bad context, but no, she was really taken back too that, oh my gosh, I didn't know that it would have such a profound effect. And I said, well, I'll be in touch this week and we'll set up your remote session and then we'll see how you feel. Same exact situation where, yeah, I got back on the phone with her after I had completed the distance session and she was again having an emotional release and could not imagine how this actually could happen. And but it was similar to the same type of experience. And I love doing remote sessions actually more than I do in person anyways. The remote for me, I can actually focus a little bit more on the energy. And so it's a little bit different. Plus, if you consider a physical body and how large that is, I
Mm.
don't work on a physical body then. When
Yes.
I do a remote session, I actually use a surrogate. So that surrogate is, if you want to consider a teddy bear you know? So it's a much, much smaller space, and my hands can almost fit completely over this bear, which means that
Wow.
I'm completely fitting over your entire body. All of your energy is getting adjusted and flows. I don't have to worry about channels or anything like that. It just is going where it needs to. So it's pretty cool. So, yep.
That's the awesome thing with energy. Energy is always there and it never dissipates. You're always going to have an effect on it. And I love the fact that you would do the in-person and then do the remote so people could see the difference because
Yep.
really what a great way for people to understand, oh, this energy thing really does work. This is there is something to
Right.
it.
Right. Very cool. Yeah, and then when I started working with sound equipment, like tuning forks, singing bowls, singing bowls. When I first started working that way, I wanted to start doing sound baths on
Okay.
Zoom, just kind of put them out there. Well, unfortunately, Zoom has something that it doesn't pick up the sound. So I could do my singing bowls, and I had a session with somebody, and they couldn't hear a single thing.
Yeah.
However, I paired it with my Reiki, and I sent them a distant connection, and they could feel and sense everything that was going on with the bowls wherever they were. So I think that person was in Minnesota. And then I also did a group trial with the singing bowls as well. And I had four different people connected, And each one of them had an experience with the vibration coming from the bowls. So yeah, it really doesn't have much of a limit because everything is here, everything is now, and whatever I do and connect with, I'm influencing. So again, to go back to, intention setting and a collective group that sets their intention on a particular focal point, how that really starts shifting and the energy that's coming through for that particular thing is such a humongous possibility of change.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's limitless and we're still exploring, we're still expanding, we're still discovering some of it. And my team is saying there are no limits. You're discovering the
Hmm.
limitlessness of the limitlessness. It's like it's one of those tongue twisters.
Right.
But there's if there's no limits, we can go on and continue to grow and expand. And that's what's happening not only with ourselves, with the universe as a whole, with all those other star nations and beings, and like you talked about, the fairies, the gnomes, there's all those that are living amongst us also that are
Right.
growing, expanding right along with us. So it's a beautiful, amazing time to be alive.
Mm.
And I've got it. I know we're getting up there. I just wanted
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
say,
Right.
so you picked the 1111. Why did you pick 1111 collective connection? Why did you pick the 1111?
Okay. So 1111 portal is all about transformation. And
Mhm.
when you start looking at what it is that we're bringing to the table here, it is about transformation. It's about transforming so many different aspects of self within the program that it it just fits so well. For one, my birthday is also 11/11, so there is that. And then when we look at collective connection in numerology, collective connection is 11 also.
Mhm.
So, and it is also a power number. So within numerology, 11 is. And so it's all about transformation and power and just helping to shift consciousness all across the board. And the more that that happens, I know that there's going to be people out there listening that understand this, but when we get to that 3% and that pop happens, that's what we're working towards. That's what we're really trying to do is have that collective shift. And that's one thing that I'm trying to help with as much as possible.
Love that. And the 11, the number numerology is also the inspirational teacher.
Mm.
So a perfect fit. A
Yep,
perfect
very
fit.
much so. Very much so. Very, very much so. Yeah.
I love it. So, is there anything else you'd like to cover before we close? I know we're getting up on there
Oh
on
my
time.
gosh. Yeah,
I
we
know.
sure are. I don't know. I really don't. I think that we've covered a lot. One of the biggest things that I want people to realize is, the largest cage that you put yourself into is created from your own mind.
Mm,
And the more that you can see that and experience these different parts of your life in a different positive way, the easier it is to shift your current position in your life. And, walking this path too has not been easy, but it is definitely the most effective way that I know to have changed my life to what it is now, and to be open for more. But yeah, it life unfolds for us. And there were a lot of people that were in my life before that are no longer a part of it. And that is okay. It's sometimes painful to understand that when you shift your life and you start taking a different direction, that others may not be a part of it and they may not follow. And when you're going through that transition, sometimes it can be difficult, but just understand that when you get to the other side, there is something greater there for you. And there is something greater that you're connecting with. And they may just be the thing that was holding you back from attaining such a high position within yourself.
That's really important words to understand is, you know, a lot of times we are the one who has created the cage around us that it is difficult to move through. It can be challenging. My team always wants me to change
Yes.
the word difficult to
Yep.
challenging. It can be
True.
challenging. We can work our way through it. It's just understanding like, okay, how can I look at it differently? How can I work my way through it? And
Yep.
knowing that when you're doing that, sometimes people are going to fall away. And sometimes when you really look at it, for myself, I'm going to say for myself, when I looked at it, there were things I didn't want to change because I was afraid of the people I was going to lose.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I discovered that after I did make the change and I did lose some of these people, I discovered I was holding myself back by holding on to that relationship.
Yep.
So,
Agreed. And then there's one thing that actually just came up in a conversation very recently with my wife that what we used to do for fun is not exactly healthy
mm,
and or fun,
yeah,
the further that we've gone down our journey. So redefining your things in life that you find happiness in, that you find joy in, that you find fun in, so that it is more for you and less against you, that really, really helps with your transformation as well. So just to kind of
that's
point out that once you start shifting, everything within your life does shift.
And that's something to really know. Everything will shift in your life, but for the better. It may
Yes,
seem a little
absolutely.
scary, a little not knowing
Yep,
where you're going to go, but oh my gosh, when you step forward to it, when you step into it, you're going to find more happiness, more joy, more excitement for the day than you've ever thought possible.
definitely.
And this is really a combination using the Western, the Eastern, and my team is saying, and us up here using all of our energies together really does create a new world, not only for ourselves, but for all the people around us.
Yep, yep,
And that's
definitely.
something you've been making a change in. So thank you so much for helping so many people make that change, understand the changes that are coming, and be able to step into them without fear.
Well, thank you, Angela. I appreciate it. And of course, well, you're right along with us. So
Thank
for
you.
sure. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Frank. I appreciate you being here, and this has just been an awesome conversation.
I
And I
agree.
want to encourage everyone, go and check out Buelow Wellness LLC. It's belowwellness.com, and the links will be down below for that, and also on Facebook, Instagram, and then check out the 1111 Collective Conscious or Elective, let me do that again. 1111 Collective Connection. I keep wanting to say consciousness, but it's a collective connection.
Right.
So make sure to check out more about that because you won't be disappointed. I know you're going to find so much there, so many amazing people that Frank has brought together to bring this out to people, to help people on their paths, to find a new way. And whatever resonates with you, you're going to find what you need there.
Yep. Agreed.
So thank you so much, Frank. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for your time, your knowledge, and sharing all of your heart with us. I appreciate it greatly.
Thank you, Angela. I really appreciate the opportunity and coming on. This has been great. Yeah, I love always having conversations with you. So
Awesome. Well,
awesome.
thank you. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you having me part of the 1111
Absolutely.
collective connection. It's been absolutely phenomenal. And I can't wait for it to come out for everyone else to experience all of the amazing aspects and knowledge that's shared in there. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
And for all of you out there, make sure to watch the next episodes of Edge Talk Radio. They're on the first and third Wednesdays of the month at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. But if you've missed any of the past episodes, no worries. You can watch it on either my YouTube channel or Edge Magazine's YouTube channel. You can listen to it as a downloadable podcast on pretty much all the podcast areas out there. And I just want to thank you all. Thank you all for listening, expanding, and amplifying our universe together. Have an absolutely amazing day.